Definitely need to give a huge thank you for our keynote speaker sponsor, Mr. David Love of Full Pull Productions. Dave, are you in attendance with us here? David's over here. Let's give David a big round of applause. David, thank you very much for being our keynote speaker sponsor. We really appreciate that. And later on in the program, Scott will tell you where to find him in the trade show so you can go book with him for your fair. So once again, David, thank you very much. 53 years in the entertainment business, produced and promoted over 6,000 concerts and events, produced and promoted notables such as the Rolling Stones, Elton John, Billy Joel, Bob Dylan, the Grateful Dead, Bob Marley, Springsteen, Cher, Shania Twain, and many more superstars. Owned and operated or managed venues in Pittsburgh, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Harrisburg, Hershey, and Erie. First inductee into the Pittsburgh Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Owned and operated the Stanley Theater Benedum Center for the Performing Arts in Pittsburgh. Author of his big seller book, Behind the Stage Door. And for more on Rich Engler, let's roll the video.
I'm a deal maker. What am I really? I'm a big-time gambler. I grew up in a mill town, north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Unless you worked at Pittsburgh Plate Glass Company, you weren't shit. I told my parents I'm going to pursue the music business. My dad comes to me and goes, hey, I hate to tell you, son, that's not a career, that's a hobby. My ultimate goal was to become a promoter.
Everyone knew Pittsburgh as Rich Engler. He knew everyone. He knew the people at the labels, he knew people at the radio stations, and he knew the managers like myself.
The bands that were coming out were the biggest bands ever. Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Santana.
Rolling Stones, The Who, Genesis.
If you want to play Pittsburgh, you would call Rich. There's a formula for success as in any business, and I think he treated the artists with respect.
Rich Engler had a personal relationship with those artists, and they respect him for what he did for them.
Promoters like Rich Engler saw that we were committed and that we had something special. He allowed us to run with what we needed to do, and we love the fact that he would have us back all the time. That's what a long-term friendship's all about.
The relationship between a promoter and the artist is seldom a very close personal relationship. He knew what it was like to be a musician, and I think he took those lessons and applied them to what he was doing as a promoter and making sure that bands were well taken care of and respected. He was always very generous with us. That's Rich. That's the way he is with everyone.
He always hung in there with us to this day. That says a lot just about him as a person, let alone a promoter.
The first gig we did together was '72 with Rich. You know, he's old school promoter, and he knows how to get it done. Like, you got to sell out to it, you know?
He made us feel he was a fan of the band, and he still has that youthful enthusiasm that he had when we first met him.
He cared about the audience and about the musicians. If you make those two things a success, then the whole thing will become a success.
Rich and his troops cleared the way. If we were going to go into the Pittsburgh area, we wanted to go under Rich Engler's wing because we never get there and feel like they weren't ready for us. He survived through all of these changes and this turmoil, and that in itself says it all.
He's been here since the beginning. He knows where all the bodies are buried.
He was bringing in bands that you wouldn't think would come to town. He was innovative in a way that he introduced new stuff.
This guy can bring Eric Clapton and the band to Three Rivers Stadium for 50,000 people. Granted, he could lose $1 million.
How many people do we need to do to break even? That was the most important thing.
You're throwing $3 million down on the table on a bet that attraction is going to at least break even. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Monsters of Rock. I needed 40,000 people to break even, did 30-some thousand people, lost $400,000 in an afternoon. That's brutal.
You either sell tickets or you don't. Some days you get the bear and some days the bear gets you. Your word is your word.
And Bill Graham and Rich Engler said, yes, I will take care of that. It was done.
They thought they were all godfathers because they ran their own territories, but they built an amazing infrastructure of building artists.
I'm for real. I'm for you, for the attraction, and I'm going to do the best job to promote your act. I was one of the ones that wrote the rules. I was not only the promoter, we owned the ticket company. For the Bruce Springsteen Born in the USA tour, I had on my desk all 65,000 tickets. That is absolutely incredible. Joe Cocker, anybody who offered him something, he would drink it. From stage, he projectile vomits out about 5 feet into the audience. And Joe kind of like waddles off the stage, but nobody asked for a refund. I booked Bob Marley. Show sells out right away at the Stanley Theater. He doesn't look good. Hey, Bob, are you sure you can play? He goes, man, I gotta play. He goes, my band needs the money. He went on stage and did the most heartfelt show ever. He knew that that was his last show. He never played again. Owning a ticket company, owning your own business, and being your own boss, that's the way to go. I never celebrated the wins and never cried over the losses. We were able to kick some major ass. When big business takes over, everything changed. The music business really started to fall apart. Guess who gets hurt? The customer. The ticket prices just keep going up, and up. Everything has changed. All of that stuff is gone away. Little did I know you sell your heart and your soul and everything, and your name, everything. Whenever I started as a promoter, it was all about the music. Our generation had a message of peace and love, and share it with the world. Now, it's all about the almighty dollar.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm Hershey welcome to Mr. Rich Engler.
Well, okay, let's rock. Let's have a good time here this morning. Once again, thank you. Thank Sam and his team, Kevin Beaver, David Ugar Productions, my agent here today. Stop by his booth, say hello. And like I said, we're gonna have a good time. Whenever I was invited to do this, I was very excited. And they said, you need to be inspirational. How about motivation also? Okay, I think we can do that. So I put some notes together, so I have to refer to them every once in a while over here, but I'm gonna walk around because I do get animated. My first experience was in the fair business, if you can believe this. Whenever I was like 17 years old, I was starting to go to, graduated high school, and I started to go to Youngstown University, and in the summer, I was looking for summer jobs, and I also had a band. So, all of a sudden, I get a call from a so-called manager I had. He said, hey, you're not gonna believe this. I was able to book you to 10 Pennsylvania fairs. This is incredible. I thought, we've made it, this is it. We're over the top now, this is the greatest. So we get in our vehicle, we get out, somewhere around Carlisle was the first date. And, you know, I'll never forget, because we were such young kids, how great everybody was at the fair. They took us under their wings and said, hey, you know, we'll teach you the ropes, this is what happens. This went from the 4-H people, this went from the volunteers, from the staff, everybody. They just absolutely loved us, and we loved them. So we played all the fairs. We played once a night, we put on a show, and then twice on the weekends, on Saturday and Sunday. And we finally, the finale of it we didn't know this, was in Ottawa, Canada, for the Canadian exhibition. And we went up there and we really thought we made it. They had the monkey mobile that we could drive around in Ottawa. They go, whoa, we felt like we were the Rolling Stones and putting it over the top. So again, thank you so much for having me here today. Inspiration, probably, and I don't want to talk about myself too much today. I'm going to talk about some of the artists that I work with and how you can expand and make more money in your business, because we're all in a risky business. We all try to do the best with your agriculture, livestock, games, the rides. It's all a big, one-of-a-kind, unique week, or 2 weeks, whatever you do, or a weekend, depending on your fare. And my story, I started out, my parents had zero money. They took out a loan so I could go to college. And I remember standing in line as a kid, collecting, going for the food and cheese whenever he was laid off. And they had meat in a can. We stayed away from that. Never knew what it was. Even the dog shied back. But it was free, and we took it. So one thing led to another, and my band kept getting a little bit more famous. And all of a sudden, I booked my band on this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and somebody would call me and ask me, hey, I need your band. I said, well, I can't get you my band, but Joey and the Hornets are available. So I called Joey up, and the next thing you know, I was booking Joey's band, and on and on and on, and I had 20 bands under my wings. Then I got a call from St. Bonaventure University, and they said, can you get me a national attraction? I said, oh yeah, who do you want? And I think at that time it was Johnny Winter or somebody like that, or I also booked John Denver up there as well. And I thought, wow, this is really where it's at, making thousands of dollars rather than hundreds of dollars from the small band. So I stopped booking bands, and then I became a promoter, producer, and like I said, a big-time gambler. Because what I do is I buy the attraction, and then I have to sell it to the public through tickets. So as you can see, I lost $400,000 in one day, which was devastating. We didn't know what to do, actually. I had loaned money to the church to build a church, and I had to go back to the pastor and say, I need that money back. Really? I go, really? I said, I just lost a lot of money, and I need to get that. I said, I promise I'll make it back. Thank God, the next year was the biggest year of my life. I had at Three Rivers Stadium and Hershey Stadium here, I had the Rolling Stones, Elton John, Billy Joel, The Who, who else was it? Genesis, all in 1 year. It was the biggest ever. So I gave the money back to the church and more, and we built a terrific church. And now it did 11,000 people for the Christmas holiday throughout the week. So we're all real proud of that as well. Thank you. So as things went on, I kept promoting and partnered up with Pat DeCesar, who was my competitor in Pittsburgh. And he hated the music business, which was perfect, because I love the music business, I love entertainment, I love doing and producing shows at fairs, and I do a lot of church events too with Amy Grant and all these other Christian artists. So as things progressed, I used to do shows down at the Stanley Theater, concerts. And every time I go in there, the manager would say, hey, why don't you buy this place? So finally, when I teamed up with Pat, we were able to get an SBA loan from the federal government. By the way, I'm going to stop there 1 second. There is still money available, by the way, for the entertainment business, and I think fairs would fall under that category. I think there's about $2 billion still in the fund. I was fortunate enough, as you know, in 2020, when they pulled the plug, it was really out. Our lights went out everywhere. I lost countless shows, countless money. I was on sale, had to move the shows 6 times thinking the COVID thing was over, and I'm still trying to figure it out because it's not good. I have a show next week, or this Saturday actually, in Florida. Cindy and I, my wife, down here somewhere. We're headed out right after today. So back to the Stanley Theater. So we bought the Stanley Theater, and it was a dying movie house. Within 1 year, it became the #1 theater in the whole United States due to the productivity and the number of shows. I wasn't trying to break any records. I was just scared. And the Novocaine of youth was setting in, and I just had to kick some butt because our nut there was about $90,000 a month. So who else? Who would you book? Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson was one of my first shows. Yeah. So Willie shows up. I go in the bus. Willie, you in here? Hey, oh yeah, I'm over there. Still to this day, that's Willie. So, and Waylon Jennings was the opening act. How great is this? So, boom, I go on sale. It sells out like immediately. So, their show comes. Like, I'm talking to Willie. Hey, we're gonna go, right? You're gonna be able to play. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll be okay. So now it's completely sold out. This theater held 3,500 people, and I had a pit like here today, and about 200 would sit in the pit. We'd set up chairs. So my assistant comes, he goes, Rich, there's about 200 more people out there trying to get tickets. I said, we tell them they can't get, well, I said, maybe we can sneak a few more over here. Yeah, I said, maybe some of it, a dozen more, we'll put them in here somehow. So we get those people in, and then as Waylon Jennings is on stage, my assistant comes running to me with the fear of the devil in his eyes, and he goes, Rich, do you remember watching the video? See how beautiful the theater ceiling was? He goes, you're not gonna believe this. Look up over there. And I look up, and there were feet dangling out of the ceiling. And I go, oh my goodness, if that person should fall, he's gonna kill who knows how many down below. And who knows what happened whenever his feet did come through, all the plaster and all of whatever's gonna already hit those people. I said, go get all those people, take them into my office, try to bandage them up, and I'll be up shortly. So I get the police, and I knew how to get up in there. It was between the roof and the ceiling and the roof. So I got in there with the police, and it's dark, and now Waylon is on stage. He's playing, and he's looking around with the flashlight, and he sees the kid down in the ceiling, and he gets him and he grabs him and he yanks him out of the hole. Now more debris falls down and hits probably other people. So we get them out, and he handcuffs that kid, and there was another one hiding in the corner. So we got them out. He takes them away in a paddy wagon. So I go up to my office, and I see all these people. One guy's like this. I go, you gotta go to the hospital. He goes, I'm not going anywhere. I came to see this show. I'm not leaving. So believe it or not, we bandaged them all up. Nobody wanted to go get stitches. We fixed them all up. I said, okay, you're gonna go backstage and we're gonna get you shirts. You sure nobody wants to go? They go, no, we want to see the show. Okay, so where we put those other 12 people, put another 12 over that way. So we squeezed those folks in, and that was a crazy day. So, and today, there would have been 20 lawsuits. Back then, nothing. So, good story. Thank you. You know, these days, it's hard to make money. The bands, the attractions, and I know most of you have talent. And by the way, not to put a commercial out, but if any of you are looking for national talent, that is what I do. I also buy for myself and promote, but I also sell national acts. And it's amazing what you can get even for $20,000, like Lone Star and Marshall Tucker Band and the Outlaws. There are a lot of great attractions. An offshoot of Chicago, Danny Serafini in Chicago does all the Chicago songs, $15,000. So I have some really good deals. So if you're around later, you can pick up one of my cards. I'm going to be down at Coco Suite 6 I brought up, I think 18, 20 guitars autographed by Alabama, Toby Keith, the Rolling Stones, and Bob Dylan. So it's really worth seeing. And I'd like to see you come on down and we can talk, and I can tell you some more stories. Anyway, like I said, it's hard to make money because these artists, these big artists, like Bruce Springsteen, let's just use him for an example. I opened PNC Park, the baseball stadium, with Bruce. His guarantee was $2 million versus 95% of gross, whichever is greater. Yes, that's sick. It is definitely sick because I have to take all the risk. If it rains, weather, whatever, they're all rain or shine. But if you don't get to your number to break even, you lose the money, and there's no downside. But they cap it at 5%. I can only get 5%, and whichever is greater. By the way, it was the greater, whichever is greater. He walked out with $3.2 million that day. So these artists make a ton of money these days, and I know why they do is because they don't sell any more records. It doesn't exist. They have to stream what they do, and that's the only way they can get money is live performances. So what happens? The ticket prices go up as their prices go up. And that's what at the end of my trailer for the documentary, it's insane. The service charges on some of these tickets are $30. It's like, they were $2 whenever I owned a ticket company. And it's just crazy and wild. But anyway, I'm going to talk to you about how you can streamline and also market your event a little bit better, maybe. So, back when owning these facilities, I had a Bud Light amphitheater in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, at Harvey's Lake. And then I had the Tussey Mountain Amphitheater in State College, PA, and the Icy Light Amphitheater in Pittsburgh. You notice they all had sponsors, and that is the real key, the name and title sponsor. So I have some agreements. If anybody wants to stop by and pick up my card, I'd be glad to give you some sponsorship agreements that you could send out to PNC, Sheets, Highmark. These healthcare companies, they're dying to get money out, and it is available. So a name and title, like for the amphitheater in Pittsburgh, it was last called the Chevrolet Amphitheater. They gave me $100,000 to put their name on all of my shows that summer. Just for one summer, $100,000. That would be great on your fare. I could easily see that. Sheets presents the Lycoming County Fair with associate sponsor of Joe Smith Cadillac or Joe Smith Chevrolet trucks. So what you do, going back to the name and title, sheets would be on all of the tickets. They'd be in all the advertising. They would be in all the radio spots, TV spots, posters, flyers. You would also give them a spot at the fair. They would be able to bring their own booth and have some people sample things, because then they would have either Borden's or a biscuit company or whatever in their booth as well, that would help them promote their business. Then also, to drive business on your weeknights, the Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, when your crowd's the least, you give them discount coupons in all the Sheetz stores that you could only get those at Sheetz. So that would, people would go in, buy whatever, stop, pick up the coupons. That drives business for them. It also drives business for you on your weeknights. So a good thing. And then for Joe Smith trucks, you would, they would be associate sponsors. So if you got, say, 50,000 for name and title for Sheetz and go to the associate, maybe you get $25,000. Now what do you give them? So at the entrance, you have 2 of their trucks on each side of the entrance, and for evening uplighting underneath, maybe put them on front going up on the jack. Really nice presentation. They get signage, they get banners. Then you have the main stage. If you have a concert stage, get another sponsor for the stage. Like you did today, somebody was brilliant. Somebody sponsored me up here, which was, that's the way to go. And it really saves a lot of money. And it would be great if you could open your door on day 1, and the first person that paid $15 or whatever they're paying to get in, that you made that $15. That's the way to do it. And it can be done. It takes a little bit of work, but a little bit of marketing. And because the fair is so unique. There's nothing like it. It brings a community of livestock, agricultural, games, rides, races, anything you can think of. It brings it in, and hey, it is awesome. So like I said, if you want to stop down, I can get you that agreement. I have 2 or 3 different kinds. There's one on lower level and higher level. It'll help you out. Also, if you want to stretch your business, stretch your season. So if your fair, most of your fairs I think are in July, some in August. I noticed that there's some in September. By the way, the first fair was 1849 in Syracuse. And then the second one, 1848 in Syracuse, and 1849 was the second one. It was in Detroit. So you had big history. So stretch your season. How do you do this? So my season in the music business was basically summer. Nobody wants to be in the Northeast in the winter. All these bands, they figure out how they can play from maybe April through September, then out, down south, down Texas, California. So, and then our business, you know, I had a big staff. I had 30-some people that worked for me. And again, it takes a staff. I mean, I did all that. Yes, I did, but I could never have done that by myself. I had great people behind me and work with me, and that's what I know. That's what you have. You have great volunteers, the 4-H, the boys club, men's club, all that stuff. That makes it all tick. That's what's great. So how do we stretch the season? So you already have, at most of these fairgrounds, you have these outbuildings where the cattle are and the exhibits. So my situation is, at these amphitheaters I had, we were finished at, maybe we'd sneak a show in September, and that would be the end of it. And then our profits and cash flow would completely drop out, none, until next spring. So I came up with this idea. I took my kids one day to a haunted house and parked a car, went in the haunted house, back in the car 20 minutes later, and going home. I said, kids, you like that? They, oh yeah, Dad, we liked it. So I thought that day, I said, man, I got an idea. I said, if I built something at the amphitheater with a facade that people could come and build 3 of those facades, the haunted castle, the haunted house, and the wacky hospital, or any kind of ideas like that, but 3 facades. And then nobody knows what's behind there because it's all dark, and people were already afraid of the dark. So I would do these Halloween events. So I would get the amusement rides. I would buy rent 4 or 5 amusement rides. Definitely need the Ferris wheel because people can see that from a distance. And these 3 or 4 haunts. And then I had a donkey clown, and you know, same kind of things that you would have at the fair. A lot of those people could still be hanging on and put that into the mix. So what you did, you paid one price, and you could stay all night. And you ride as much as you want, go through each one of the haunts as many times as you want. And again, volunteers, and you pay for some of the actors as well. And they have animatronics that you pay some, like $1,000 or so for the animatronics that whenever you walk, they're motion detected. So when you're walking, something jumps out at you. And we had a theme, don't touch the monsters and the monsters won't touch you, because you know that you didn't want any lawsuits as well. And things have changed now because of social distancing, but hopefully by this summer things are going to get a lot better. It's starting a bit now, so that's great. So I have any idea that you would want from me. You can also talk to me about that too. I can give you some pictures and some diagrams. It's very simple to put together. And by the way, on Saturday nights, I was open every night of the week except Monday. On Saturday nights, I was driving 4,000 people through there on a Saturday night, and all the way down during the week, probably 1,000 every night. And I think I was getting at that time $20 or something like that to get in. So you do the numbers. I think I made $300,000 or $400,000 for the month of October. Also, same thing in the winter. I was golfing in Ogle Bay Park down near Wheeling, and they had this drive-through light show. So I said, well, there's no drive-through light show in Pittsburgh. So what I did, I went to the fair folks and Hartwood Acres, and we all got together, and I did a drive-through light show, which is great. And you put bring the community in, have the 4-H folks do lighting, with lights or painted, same way with your volunteers, your clubs, your different places, and again, your sponsors to put this thing through there. We did that, we ran that thing for about 10 years before I sold my company, and it was phenomenal. You have your radio on. Some of you probably have gone through some of those things, and yeah, they're fun, and it's no maintenance other than change the light bulbs here and there. But I think we had 1 million lights. These lights you could buy bulk, and it's not very difficult. Best place is, again, you could have it meander through the fairgrounds as well. So that's another idea for you. So I wanted to give you a couple other stories here. So, Bruce Springsteen. I produced a lot of Bruce Springsteen shows. So I had the Born in the USA tour at Three River Stadium. It held the capacity record for years and years, and finally Garth Brooks broke it. Bruce did 65,000 people, and like I said, I had all 65,000 tickets on my desk at one time, because I owned a ticket company. But at that time, as you all know, that when you book major acts, you get a contract, and then with the contract is a rider. And in that rider has maybe 20 or 30 pages of crap that they want, what they don't want, what they want for breakfast, what the lunch, dinner, how many limos, what color of the limos, what color of the towels, all these craziness. So with Bruce's, it was rather simple for who he was, but he wanted a game room put together in the dressing room. So, oh yeah, we can do that. So I provided ping pong tables and Pac-Man and all those different games back then. And so it's time for Bruce to go on stage. So they're all, I get the band and Bruce, and we're standing off stage, ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Springsteen, and he comes on, and the band comes up, he puts on the guitar and he starts, Born in the USA, born in the USA, born. And he looks around, two guys are still playing ping pong in the dressing room. You want to talk about two guys that are scared for their life. They came running out, they hooked up, and then Bruce continued. So the moral of this story is, Bruce always would go on first. That was the last time he ever went on first. Still to this day, he goes on last. So they have a counter. They make sure everybody's out there before Bruce goes on. Pretty crazy. So people always ask me, well, who was the nicest? I'd say, well, probably Paul McCartney, which you would think would probably have an attitude, but he didn't. He's a great guy. And they go, who was the worst? I go, well, there were a lot of worse. But if I had to pick one, it would be Aerosmith. They hated their mothers, they hated their children, they hated everything. They hated what they wore, they hated what they looked like, they hated everything. So, but they sell tickets. So, listen, you sell tickets, come on, I'll make it work. So I get ZZ Top. ZZ Top is red hot. Worldwide Texas tour. Beer drinkers and hellraisers, and a hair band. Never good. Three River Stadium, fights, throwing fireworks at each other. Oh, it was a nightmare. So Aerosmith now, in the rider, they wanted a great dressing room. I said, all right, we'll put you in the visitor's dressing room. Oh, okay, that's nice. So ZZ Top gets there and they go, honor, we want both dressing rooms. We want the Steelers dressing room and the visitors dressing room. I said, there's only 3 of you. What? Am I missing something? They go, no, I do something else. So I go, so I get my assistant, I said, put an ad in the paper. Winnebagos for rent. We'll pay $500 for one day. So the phone rings off the wall. He said, it comes back to me. He goes, hey, Rich, I got the Winnebagos. I said, how much you get? He goes, like 4 or 5. I said, get them all. We'll put them in a circle backstage, put a chef in the middle, put a jacuzzi in the middle. They'll absolutely love this. Get some of the cheerleaders from the pit football team. Everybody come back there, have a great time. So the story goes, now, Aerosmith's time to go on stage. So they run out and start playing. Everything's good. They're about halfway through their set, and all of a sudden, whoo, everything goes dead. The electricity, gone. So everybody's like, what's going on? Well, one of the ZZ Top crowd said, I hate these guys, crawled over a fence where the power was, skull and crossbones, death could prevail. He goes in and cuts the power on Aerosmith in the middle of the set. So the band was like, oh, I saw one of them, they throw the guitar up and here it comes landing down on the stage. They're never going back on. So electrician figured it out. He went in, they, again, please, you know, get the guy, lock him up, take him away, and get the power back on. So believe it or not, before I could get backstage, they were back on stage. So they probably needed the money, I guess. So they figured they better end the set, play their set. So they finished their set. So the Worldwide Texas Tour, they had steer, all these different animals that they wanted on stage with them. So we're trying to get the animals out and get them going while Aerosmith is getting off to the stage. So the long and short of it, again, my assistant's coming with the fear of the devil chasing him. He goes, you gotta see this, you gotta come now. I said, no, I gotta get these guys on. He goes, no, you gotta see this now. So we go over to the, right about backstage, and I come around the backstage, and I look at the first Winnebago, and as I look, a chair comes flying through the windshield. True story, I can't make this up. A chair comes flying through the windshield. I go to the other, look at the other Winnebago, mustard, ketchup, relish, everywhere, over the dash, inside. I didn't even have to go inside. So they're now running toward the limo. They're trying to get out of there before I kill them or choke them. So Steven Tyler, he gave me some hand signal, and he jumped in the limo. But his manager now jumps out. He goes, where's my check? I said, no check for you. I said, I think I owed him like $75,000. I said, whenever we survey the damage here, you'll get your check. He goes, this band, put me in the check. This band will never, ever play for you again. I said, I don't think I ever want him. But funny how things go. Aerosmith fired him. About a month later, the new manager calls me and goes, Rich, they're going out next month. What dates do you want? So it never happened. So great. Okay, I think I'm pretty much finished. Again, I want to thank everybody. My documentary hopefully will come out soon on Netflix or something. Somebody will buy it. A great company that produced it. They have several awards and Emmys for their work. So I'm just hoping. Also, don't forget to come down and see me. I'll be down there for the next few hours. And again, thanks, Sam, the group, and everybody for having me here today. Thank you very much. I love you.
Rich Engler, ladies and gentlemen. Well, folks, the 109th annual convention for 2022 is officially open for business. So, I'd like to send out additional thanks also to Echo Valley over here. How about another round of applause for Echo Valley?